Okay, so today I wanted to give my insights on the NFL draft. I'm not going to speak about all these picks because I don't care, but I'm just going to kind of give the highlights and some overall thoughts really quick. Caleb Williams went first overall to the Chicago Bears. Congratulations to him. It's exactly what he wanted. I just don't really care for how he went about the combine. Like, didn't throw, didn't really do much for it, and he didn't even give all the teams his medicals, and he said that's personal information. I'm only going to give it to the teams who I really think are going to draft me or the teams I'm really interested in, and all that kind of stuff. I didn't like it. I really didn't. I heard other people's rationale for why he might have chose to do that. It's a very tedious process and stuff like that. I can kind of see it, but I just personally didn't really care for it. I think it's weird that people are coming for him because he paints his nails and he has a pink phone case. I think that that's so stupid and everything like that. Like, all toxic masculinity, and it's really showing. I just think it's so dumb the way that they're talking about him in regards to that. Like, it has nothing to do with his actual play in the field. Y'all talking about small, minuscule stuff that doesn't matter. And I see the highlights. He's pretty good at what he does, obviously. So part of me is like, maybe I'm coming around on him a little bit. You know, it's obvious that he really cares. He was super excited to be drafted number one overall. And the Bears have put him in a really good situation because you were able to get Keenan Allen on your team and make some good moves with the roster overall, on offense at least. I need to learn a little bit more about the defense and what they've got going on there. Oh, they also got DeAndre Swift at running back. And so they've really loaded up the team for him to have success. I worry because the Bears don't have a good history of developing quarterbacks, and so it looks like he's going to be the franchise guy, but a lot of things need to fall in place for everything to go well. I wonder if he'll win a Super Bowl in the future and what he's going to do ultimately. But, you know, I'll tap into a few of these games this season. We'll see what's happening. Of course, there is going to be that adjustment from college to the NFL, but it'll be exciting to see what he does. But, I mean, he certainly has the talent. He does. So it'll just be interesting to see how everything goes. But they've done what they could to put him in a good situation. I will definitely say that. Aiden Daniels went number 2 overall to the Commanders, so congratulations to him. I need to watch more of his highlights and get a little bit more familiar with his game, but I mean, he just got the Heisman Trophy last season, so obviously he's doing something right. Like I said before, I don't care for the Commanders as an organization. I think that it's a poverty franchise. I don't really go for it. They got a new coach, they got some new pieces there, so I hope that it goes well for him in Washington, honestly, because just the way that they've done players in the past and just the way that it's been going, it's not looking good. But I hope everything works out for him sincerely, and maybe I'll watch a game or two. But like I said, this is like one of my least favorite teams in the NFL. But congratulations to him for going number 2. Drakemaye went 3rd overall to the Patriots. I wanted him to go to the Minnesota Vikings so badly because it just seems like a better situation for him overall. I like their uniforms. I like the aesthetic. I like the organization way better than the Patriots. They had a horrible season last year. They really did. And so I'm getting worried for him. I really am, just because of how everything was set up. They drafted some new wide receivers, not hearing very many good things about them on social media from the people who pay more attention to them in college than I did. So, yeah, they're definitely in a rebuild. I wonder if they're going to let him sit for a year under, I believe, Jacoby Brissett is the quarterback, and kind of learn a little bit. And then in next year's draft, they can get some new pieces, and then he can start. Because it's always valuable for quarterbacks to sit and learn a little bit. I want them to get everything together before he goes there. You know, I want them to have a good offensive line so he can be protected and he doesn't have a bunch of injuries. But, you know, I really liked him at the combine and everything I saw. I like the interview. Seems like a nice guy. And, you know, him in the Patriots uniform kind of feels right. Him putting on the cap kind of feels right. So I'm genuinely rooting for him. I hope that he does well, honestly. And so we will have to see what's going on there. But, you know, they just have a lot of work to do in New England. Not to mention the shadow of Tom Brady looming over your head, because that's just something you can never live up to. And he said, you know, I'm just going to try to be myself, obviously, doing my own thing. So I wish him his own success. I really do. I'll tap into some of their games if he actually is the starter for the season or whatever, if he plays. But I'm really excited to see what he does. I've watched his highlights. I think he's a great player. I like the plays that he has created. I think he's talented. Michael Penix Jr. was drafted 8 overall to the Atlanta Falcons. A lot of people scratching their heads at this pick, and I understand, because I don't, for the life of me, get why you give Kirk Cousins $100 million guaranteed. And I think overall he's supposed to make, what, $180 million, with his playoff record being the way that it is. I think he has one win over this long career that he's had. I think that's just ridiculous. Not to mention the fact that he's coming off an Achilles injury. Not to mention the fact that he's, what, like 36 years old. Everybody knows Kirk Cousins is going to be great in the regular season, and then he's going to choke in the playoffs if he even does get there. So paying him that much money, I don't get, when you basically felt like we're going to draft a quarterback anyways. But people thought Oh, maybe they really weren't planning on drafting a quarterback, but they just fell in love with him. And Kirk Cousins, he'll probably play out this contract. He got 4 years, and then he's probably done. And then you give this guy some time to learn under him, develop the team a little bit more, because people wanted him to develop the defense a little bit more. And then everything is set in position for him to start. So I get why people are against it. I get why people are for it. But, I think for the most part, it seems like a good situation for him. I really liked him at the combine. I like his game, what I've seen. It's interesting that he's lefty, and everyone said that he is going to be another Michael in Atlanta like Michael Vick. So, interesting there. I really like him. I do. I hope that he is very successful in the NFL. I think sitting will benefit him. People have mentioned his injury history, so that is definitely a concern there. He's already going to be, 24? So if he sits 4 years, then he's going to be 28 by the time he gets to play. And apparently, that's not a high success rate for people who play at that age. So, shout out to Mina Kimes because I thought that her commentary on the situation was on point. I think she made a lot of sense. I hope that it ends up working out for him and that he does well. Drafting Michael Penix Jr. also makes sense because, like I said, Kirk is coming off that Achilles injury. So if that gets re-aggravated or some other injury happens, then they already have a pretty good guy on deck. So it'll be really interesting to see how they kind of have to adjust the offense in because Kirk plays right and he plays left. But it's also good to just kind of have some insurance there because you never know what can happen to Kirk Cousins. And he doesn't have a big injury history to my understanding, but I mean, Achilles, like, that's pretty serious. So I think it also helps in that regard. So he might start games earlier than we're all expecting due to that. This is an edit of jjmccarthy in the Vikings uniform, but yeah, he gets drafted to the Vikings at, I believe it was 10 or 11 overall. Thoughts on jjmccarthy? I mean, he has a great record at Michigan. He did win that championship, so you got to give it to him. I think it's 27-1 record as a starter. He had a good coach in Jim Harbaugh, but I don't like Jim Harbaugh. And all that controversy with Michigan last year made me scratch my head because I don't like cheating in professional sports. Play the game the fair way. I don't know how much involvement that he had in that. And I mean, looking at his highlights, I mean, I liked a thing or two that I saw. I don't absolutely love watching him. I'll probably watch a few other games this year if he is starting because there's something that I like about the organization. I'm just never too high on their quarterbacks, and that's what my problem is when you have someone boring like Kirk Cousins at the helm and the pocket passer that he is. So, I'll watch a little bit. Maybe he could be highly successful. Maybe he won't, but I like most of the other quarterbacks above him in this draft, and that's just me being honest. But we'll see what he ultimately does in the NFL. Next up, I want to talk about my Chiefs. So here's going to be all of their picks in this year's draft. So I'm super excited that they got Xavier Worthy because I loved him at the combine and that speed that he was able to have on that 40-yard dash and having the fastest 40 of all time, and he was just super impressive. So I was really hoping that they would get him. I saw Patrick tweeting about him, so I was like, okay, they might be able to get him if he falls. And I'm kind of shocked he went that low and people didn't draft him, but I mean, it worked out for us. Only moved up a couple of picks, traded with Buffalo. I don't know why they traded after you guys did that trade and got Patrick Mahomes, who owned y'all every single year. But, God bless. And we got a great wide receiver, and we need wide receiver depth because Rasheed Rice just got in that accident that was completely avoidable had you not been driving 119 miles per hour and putting those people's lives at risk. So he's about to face a well-deserved suspension. Who knows how many games, but, he got to learn his lesson because why would you do that? Such a stupid decision. And he got to be held accountable for that. So we need more wide receiver depth. And then Hollywood Brown just got signed to the team as well. They got that international pathway player. So that'll be interesting to see how he develops. He can do either wide receiver or he could also potentially do running backs. So we'll have to see kind of what he's giving. And I don't want Kadarius Toney on the team. I don't know why he's still there. The only reason I can think is maybe for the kick return now that they changed the rules, but I don't want him on the team. The way that he acts off the field is a chop, and he had a horrible season, so I really want them to cut him from the team. If he is on the field, only for the kick return. I swear, if he goes on to catch passes, I'm really going to lose it. You cost him the season last year, don't do it again, okay? But I really like Xavier Worthy. They need all the wide receiver depth they can get, and so I think this is going to be a very good decision. Not to mention you got Travis Kelce, who is great at catching passes as well. An offensive tackle, Kingsley Samata, so shout out to him. We need all the protection for Patrick that we can get. Then they drafted a tight end, and we need that because who knows when Travis is going to retire. He has played for a long time, so to get someone who he could potentially mentor and could end up being a good fit for the team, I like it, especially in the fourth round. Doesn't seem like we gave up too much to get it, so I'm happy with it. And then another DB, which we need because L'Jarius Sneed just got traded, so it hurts me because he played excellent last year, only allowed one touchdown the entire season. Like, talk about lockdown corner. So I hear they're really good at developing their secondary, so I'm excited that we drafted another one. And then round 5, we had Hunter And so it'll be interesting to see what he does. And then in round 6, we had Kamal had another DB. So yeah, 2 DBs. We needed that. We really did. And then the last pick, I believe that's a guard. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. But A plus for the draft picks. I kind of would have liked to see us draft another wide receiver because we need all the wide receiver depth that we can get. But not matter. Quickly, here is all the Eagles draft picks. They drafted some corners, and I hear really good things. And Lord knows we need it because the secondary last year was absolutely horrible. Got an edge rusher, which is going to be good. Running back is good because DeAndre Swift just got traded to the Bears. Wide receiver helps, though we really have good things with AJ and Devontae, so it'll be interesting to have it. Linebacker, absolutely. Guard, yes. Another wide receiver, we could use it. And a center makes sense because Jason Kelsey just retired. Though Cam Jurgens is supposed to take over a center, so maybe they just want some insurance and stuff, and maybe they can have him play guard or something. I don't know. Those are just some of my quick thoughts on the NFL draft overall. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Did we like the draft? Did we not? Are there any picks that you're super excited to see? Any teams that you're now going to watch now that they have been drafted? I think the teams overall got stronger. I'm definitely going to be tuning in to some Bears games and see exactly what they're going to be giving. I'll tap into some Patriots games if drakemaye is starting. I might watch an Arizona Cardinals game or two because Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be on there. And Eagles, I feel like they got stronger. Chiefs, I feel like they got stronger. So a lot of good stuff. But those are just some of my thoughts.